24 teams of 7 riders assembled in Lido di Camaiore for the first stage of the 60th edition of the race between two seas. Tirreno-Adriatico once again attracting many of the world's very best riders for the first stage. Familiar launching point, 11.5 kilometre time trial down by the sea in the Tuscan town of Lido di Camaiore. Straight out and back time trial. Very little in the way of technical demands. Absolutely pan flat. One for the power riders. And a familiar venue for some of the world's best time trialists, including the likes of Filippo Ganna. That's the profile. In the early running, one of the first riders off the ramp and into action, Johan Pryce Pedersen, the Danish rider, powering through to set a really challenging time. At the top of the timesheets for much of the day, the Alpecin de Koning rider showing great form. And man of the moment in the early season classics, winning on opening weekend, and Søren Verenskjold of the Uno X Mobility squad looking to see if he could come up with another stunning performance at World Tour level. Ultimately, not quite able to get to the time of Johan Pryce Pedersen, coasting across the line within 9 seconds of his Danish rival, but the Norwegian national time trial champion not able to unseat the man from Alpecin de Koning. Jonathan Milan looked as if he would for a while. The man who took 2 stage wins in the points classification of the 2024 edition of Tirreno-Adriatico, setting a blistering time at the 5 kilometre point. And Jonathan Milan looking at that moment to be on course to take the top time. Racing through to the line. Oh, so close, just missing out by the scat margin of 3 seconds. Huge investment for the big sprinter, who was also a very useful time trialist. GC contender Richard Carapaz, Ecuadorian for EF Education Easy Post, among a host of riders trying to limit their losses. Peo Bilbao among them, often a useful time trialist. He, like Carapaz, finding the flat course not necessarily to his liking or his particular ability as an athlete, and he ultimately coming through to the line just under half a minute down on Johan Pryce Pedersen to that point. Unfamiliar colours for Simon Yates, his first race of the season and his first race for the Visma Lease Bike squad. 32-year-old Englishman racing through the first 5 kilometres to the turn at a deficit of 13 seconds to Johan Pryce Pedersen, losing a similar amount in the second part of the time trial, and ultimately, like many of the other climbers, ending up almost half a minute down on Pryce Pedersen. Antonio Tiberi, though, looking very strong through the first 5 kilometres, the former junior time trial champion of the world, and a man gunning for glory. At this moment it looks as if he might actually take it, but just ultimately missing out by the scant margin of a single second. Antonio Tiberi would end the day in 4th place. Tom Pidcock nursing weary legs back into action after his heroics in Strade Bianche. Almost 40 seconds down and suffering on the flat roads of Lido di Camaiore. Adam Yates, he too losing time in the second half of the time trial. His teammates from the UAE Team Emirates squad, though, all eyes on Juan Ayuso after his glorious victory in the opening day time trial of 2024. Juan Ayuso blasting through the first 5 kilometres to the fastest time, looking to unseat Johan Pryce Pedersen at this point, but knowing that Filippo Ganna was yet to start his time trial. Juan Ayuso through to the line. Had enough in hand to better the time of Johan Pryce Pedersen and go to the top of the timesheets, but always mindful of the riders to come. Another stunning performance from the 22-year-old from Barcelona. And plenty of Italians peppered in amongst the top 10 at the end of the day. Mattia Catania from the Soudal-QuickStep squad, giving a great account of himself. As indeed did Derek G, the 27-year-old Canadian, fresh from success in O Gran Camino. Another strong time trial performance, as he would end the day ultimately in 6th place in Lido di Camaiore. But all eyes were on The man third from last off the start ramp, the national champion of Italy, Filippo Ganna, twice a winner in Lido de Camaiore to this point, and having been bested by Juan Ayuso by that single second in 2024, had revenge in mind. Good start to the season and a good winter of preparation for the national time trial champion, and he blasted through the first 5 kilometres, 2 seconds down on Juan Ayuso to that point. But a great negative split performance from Filippo Ganna as he broke the beam fully 23 seconds faster than Juan Ayuso to take glory. His third victory in Lido de Camaiore, his 4th time trial success in Tirreno-Adriatico. The 28-year-old Italian continues to deliver stunning performances on the time trial bike. 23 seconds faster than Ayuso, 28 seconds ahead of Johan Pryce Pedersen, Tiberi, Milan and the rest, all some way adrift. So the first Maglia Azzurra of the week is donned by Filippo Ganna for the 7th time in his career. Ganna's difference is reflected in the overall standings as the riders prepare for the first road race of the week, Camaiore to Follonica, 192 kilometres in prospect, just one climb along the way. Build is one for the sprinters on day 2, and the first road racing challenge, the only climb coming 50 kilometres from the finish line.